know, the next big thing. Tell me, how are you going to ignite your career? In this program, we plan to showcase 4 unsigned acts. We've got Philly, we've got Reachout,
Vera Cruz and Jenny.
We're going to hear what they have to say, listen to their music, and my favorite part, view them from every conceivable angle. We've got pros as well to give us information on how to get inside the music business. This is it. This is Ignition.
At the entrance to the parallel world, we'll checkpoint this night day. I'll meet you at the entrance to the parallel world. We'll watch your edges melt away. Who's gonna tell you you're beautiful? You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Awake. Can you tell us a bit more about that track, please?
I don't usually like to tell people what my songs are about because they interpret them their own way.
Yeah.
But it was about a dream that I had, but it's also kind of about being just awake generally in life to stuff that's going on.
What attracted you to rock?
I think because I really get off on the stuff that's hard-edged. There's a kind of attitude and energy that you get in that kind of music that's really exciting.
To perform, you need a certain bravery, and a lot of women lack a kind of self-confidence, a self-esteem. What gives you that courage?
I mean, I always wanted to sing, I always wanted to write, I always wanted to perform, but you know, I was shy when I was younger. And the first music project I got into, I was 15 and performed for the first time when I was 16. You just got addicted to it. You got addicted to the feeling of performing to people and just seeing their reactions, even if they didn't like it necessarily. It just is a feeling that I don't get from anything else in my life.
In a parallel world, you're 6 foot 2. In a parallel world, you're beautiful. In a parallel world, your day is night. Nothing's wrong and everything's alright. Who's gonna tell you? Who's gonna tell you? Who's gonna tell you? If you're awake, are you awake? Are you awake? Are you awake?
When you appear on stage, what kind of persona, what kind of character are you trying to convey?
I think it's the strongest, the most confident aspect of my personality that I'm going to take on stage with me. But it's something that I have in all aspects of my life. It's not something that I just keep for there. But my main priority on stage is getting across a message, whether it's emotive or whether it's in the contents of the lyrics. And it's just getting something across that's in the music. So that is kind of first and foremost to me before clothes and before image or anything like that.
Who's gonna tell you you're beautiful? Are you awake in a dream from a bad life? Who's gonna tell you you're beautiful? Are you awake in a dream from a bad life? Are you awake? Are you awake? Are you awake?
I've wrote since I was little, and writing's just something that I do all the time anyway. And I think it's the crossover between the introvert and the extrovert, because when you're writing, it's something you do in your personal space, in your personal time, and a lot of it might mean a lot to you. When I was 15, I got in a lot of trouble with a lot of different things, and I was looking for something, and when music came along, it was a creative way of doing something that you could do otherwise in a destructive way, and the screaming and the energy and the communication is something that I hadn't previously had access to, and it all comes from a female point of view, it all comes from a 22-year-old's point of view.
Are you awake?
Well, if it's a record deal you're looking for, and we know how hard that is, let's go and see if there's any other ways we can actually get your music heard. We've got some music industry people, a top record producer, a music publicist, a record company boss, and an A&R man from one of the biggest internet music sites. And what a better place to network with the industry than an internet cafe. Okay guys, thanks for agreeing to talk to us on the internet. So can you tell me what's happening in the music industry at the moment?
In one word, the music business, changing.
The industry is going through an enormous change at a very quick pace because it has to.
There's so many people out there that always want to listen to something new. I mean, I'm one of those people. You know, I go home and I log on online and I'll go looking for the next punk band that I really want to listen to.
We have people going up and down the country looking for new talent all the time. And if you're playing live and if you're playing well and if you're building up a bit of a following, then you will get some attention.
You guys make it sound so positive and easy, but how does an unsigned band get a record deal?
It's difficult, you know, for a new act, but you have to get what you want straight. Don't expect that anyone is going to do anything for you. No one owes you a thing. I don't care about you. I'm sitting here, I don't care, and the rest of the world doesn't care.
Music business is not about musicians. It's about making money out of musicians.
4 Herberts looking grim with some really cheap looking video and really cheap looking record sleeve, and they really badly styled. Who's going to want to buy into that? What kid is going to want to put that up on their wall? Some, you know, 4 trips, they probably would have been nicking dinner money off people that look like that, you know, 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
It's an everyone's song, running away. I mean, everyone wants to run away at one point in their lives, don't they? Especially with somebody else.
Callum, can I ask about songwriting with you? You said that you write mainly the chords. Have you ever thought about collaborating with Philly and writing more of a song?
The way that we work is kind of like that anyway, because, you know, if for example, Philly's coming up with something which just is, it's not happening, we're going to look at each other and go, well, you know, this isn't cool. And vice versa, if I'm playing a sequence which is just not turning them on, you know, or both of us, it's very much a kind of one-to-one. It's not as black and white as Philly does the lyrics and I write the guitar.
I like to think that we're not traditional songsmiths, we're more out there, as in not like a formula guitar band or a formula teen pop thing. It's try and throw in as many different sounds as possible and just not keep it straight.
Running away with you is all that I ask for. Running away with you is all I could ask for. Too long, unanswered prayers.
Ask a question about why you'd see music so much as a creative thing and not just do it for the money.
I think I could do it for the money. You know, I'd be doing something else by now if that was the case.
Yeah.
You know, I think if it's something that's within you, and it has been all along, then you just have to go with your ambition.
You love music, and it is you. You are the music. Musicians are the dreamers of the world.
Yeah.
They're there to fulfill everybody else's dream, I reckon. If you're a doctor, then you're helping somebody. If you're a musician, then if you make a good tune and somebody listens to that and gets inspired from it, then
And
wow.
they're sort of there to have their albums slagged.
What's that?
front person for your band. Edinburgh doesn't have that many black artists. How do you feel when you're up on stage?
It's hard not to feel intimidated. But then I was the only black guy in my school. God, I was the only black guy in my block. I was the only black guy in this. I was the only black guy in that.
Yeah.
So if you've got red hair or whatever, you're going to get slated. Because kids are like that. I mean, they can be nasty, but I think if you're true to yourself, then you always know what you want to do, and you can always piss off the people that piss you off.
Running away with you is all I could ask for. Yeah, yeah. Running away with you. Running away with you,
Everyone's talking about the internet and new technology. So how can it work for young musicians?
There are various ways you can market yourself on the internet via chat rooms, viral email, mail outs.
I think the technology is in place now for us to be a lot more direct with our art and a lot more direct with our creativity.
It's opened up a whole new bedroom DIY punk promotion thing. You know, you can do it from your bedroom.
What about getting your music on these new sites? And what's the deal for musicians?
There's basically a community of websites out there that are basically opening doors to new musicians, and we're one of them. It's non-exclusive. You get a 50-50 revenue split on any royalties of the CDs that you sell.
So is the internet going to be the end of the music industry as we know it? And can we now make great music without all the middlemen who have controlled things in the past?
Great music has always been about teamwork and has always been about people intermingling and vibing off of each other. And so whether you like the fact that you've got a record producer or an A&R man or a manager or a publisher or a radio guy or not, sometimes these people are very important to have around.
People are saying, you know, it's going to be the death of the record industry and all these people are going to be able to put their music on the internet and it can go straight to people's houses. No need for me, no need for record company, no need for marketing department, it's over. But that's not true. People will always need to be made aware of what's going on, because they don't have the time to search through a million music files.
So is there a danger from the internet of artists getting ripped off and never getting paid for what they've done?
The internet's a real concern for us as to how artists and songwriters are going to make money. They're no different to a tradesman going out to earn his living and needing to be paid for it at the end of the day to support his family, and to suddenly find that somebody's trying to steal their pay packet, if you like.
The problem that we have is obviously we have to work out a fair system, a fair way of being able to be compensated for the work that we've all done on it. You acknowledge that you like the music by paying for it.
When you said you're such a mess, you just know my lack of success. And on the phone when I was stoned, you just talked in monotones. Up in flames, and every way he's trying to lay some blame.
Dave, Paul writes a lot of the lyrics. Do you write a lot of the chords and stuff?
The way we work is we kind of come together in the rehearsal studio, and maybe Paul will have an idea, a basic idea, or Dave or Roger, and then it drastically changes.
Dave can come up with some really nice things on piano these days, and that is like a spark that becomes at a later date, a full song.
A track called Monotone. Can you tell us more about that, please?
That's one of our first songs that we wrote together.
Pretty simple song.
Quite good for playing live though.
Yeah.
It's a rocker.
It's a rocker.
When you were 14, what kind of aspirations did you have concerning the music business? Was yours the usual record deal,
No.
top of the pops, stadium concerts?
No, it was to play through an electric guitar and have an amplifier and to make more noise than my acoustic guitar would make. I didn't really have aspirations, I just loved the whole kind of playing music, you know.
Paul, can I ask, you're Canadian, how come you're not a big Canadian rock star?
You got thrown out of Canada.
I
true.
moved over to Glasgow a number of years ago, and then I ended up staying. I just like living in Glasgow, really.
Vera Cruiser is yet unsigned. Is there any advice that you've been given concerning the music business that you just haven't taken?
I don't think there's any good advice. I mean, I think giving advice to people doesn't make any sense. If you're in a band, you should do this thing because it'll help you get a record deal, and that's what you want.
Do you ever write in conceptual kind of categories? Say, for instance, you have an idea to write about space travel or what it's like to be dumped.
I've never been dumped.
No, we've never ever been dumped.
Dumped in space.
Right, we've been dumped in space.
Never been a dumpy.
Going to the future now, if you had a magic wand, how would you change the record industry for the better?
What would I do to change the record industry? I would try and make it a little bit equal between men and women. There's not enough women in the industry. If you're going to have some kind of culturally representative art form, it should be represented by society, and it just isn't.
What sort of practical advice have you got to give to the unsigned band out there?
If you're an unsigned band, be honest, and be brutally honest with yourself. That's a really important thing. You have to sit and listen to your own music and really, really decide if it's moving you. If it's, and I mean that sounds like a really cliched thing to say. Is it moving me? You know, if after 1,000 times you've heard this track, it's still doing something for you and it's still, you know, grabbing you, then fine. Move on to the next stage.
You get it right, what you want. Be very clear. Because if you don't know, then people will exploit and manipulate you. No one's waiting for you. No one is waiting for your record. So you have to make them want it by knowing exactly what you want.
The situation that we have at the moment, I don't think is particularly fair. Are you telling me that the record companies are standing up for the good of musicians? No, they've never stood up for the good of musicians. and stood up for the good of our own bank balances.
It's their job to bend over backwards for you once you've got the right product, because it is a product and they will sell it, you know, and that's where the kind of friction comes in, because it's art versus business, and wherever there's art versus business there will be friction.
One, two.
Stimulation of chaos.
That's right.
Can you tell us a bit more about the lyrics behind that, please?
That's like a kind of worldview for me, because that's how I feel the world is right now. It's chaotic, but at the same time the powers that be are trying to install their order, the new world order. And I was trying to say, well, in your chaos I have my order. Do you know what I mean? And my order is my chaos.
When you started in music, why hip-hop?
To this day I remember the first time I heard a hip-hop record. I remember where it was, everything. I remember running up the stairs to hear what it was a bit closer. It was just a sound I hadn't heard before. And I've been intrigued ever since that day.
Through the darkest of days, I find light within the intangible. So grab a hold of my molecule as it melts like a memory. In the mouth of madness, not of the hand that grabs this. Pen that descends to the end of the papyrus. So watch me as I flow on to the verbal estuary. I'm setting sail on the mystery that's masquerading its destiny. Cause even those next to me don't know what to expect from me. Hoping that we can hold hands in the hour of peril. Here cometh the man for this unworkable land. When financial harvest fails, I plant seeds in rotation. Cross the rivers of first banks. Ain't it swell how I find flotation? My stock is life, the price of sharing is soaring. My market won't crash, the sleeping lying is roaring. Cause in God we love and my currency is trust. You can't devalue my worth in the time of a crisis. I'm falling and rising, still shining like ISIS.
How do you view the role of women in hip-hop?
Women are being used, I would say used, in quite a lot of ways. There is a lot more women than there used to be. You've just got to say Lauryn Hill, you've just got to look at that example for what she's proved. Not just in herself as a female, but as an MC, as a musician. Then you've got to look at people like Raw Digger as well. Do you know what I mean? Her just tearing it up.
I enjoy the stimulation of chaos. I enjoy the stimulation of chaos. I enjoy the stimulation of chaos. My perpetual motion, I perceive as on. I enjoy the stimulation of chaos. I enjoy the stimulation of chaos. I enjoy the stimulation of chaos. My perpetual motion, I perceive as on. I saw the whole of the moon and it wasn't too soon. The quietness awakes and fills up the room. Look into the light, it's good for your eyes. I'm focusing on men who make me mesmerize. It's becoming apparent in the following days as I lift up the veil and capture with my gaze the 3D shadows and dancing cold flames. Just a game, throw myself into the arms of a stranger. Your best behavior, I better be on my way. No more can I be hanging around in the Libra zone. I gotta get my ball rolling to the best of my ability. But first to Bristol Square, I catch my tranquility. Feeling protected by the all four sides. I spring to my feet and start the exercise. I cross over the valley until reaching the water. There a face is warmer, inviting me down. So I feel safe and sound while on the stillness of the surface. I begin to skim like I'm a stable creature. Then I leap the lily pads of luck and land in the glorious future.
A lot of people get, to be honest, a lot of psychological discomfort when they realise I'm from Scotland. How can that be hip-hop? How can that be good?
Do you feel you have to justify yourself to other people?
I just feel my music will do the talking. Because if you understand hip-hop, you understand that it's about a global thing. It's about the whole world. Because if hip-hop only ever came from where it started from, it would only come from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And if you go to the Bronx and the people there, that's not what they want. I've been there. What makes them happiest in the whole world is for people to travel the whole world back to where they are, where it started from, and say, listen, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
There's enough that's been set in place in this world, you know what I mean, that's negative, that's travelled the whole world. Hip-hop, it gives the youth a voice, do you know what I mean? Not just a singing voice, but an actual just say whatever the fuck you feel, do you know what I mean?